Right, morning. Today, number one thing to do is sort out these sunglasses, because yeah, I didn't do that before. And the next thing we're going to be doing is trying to get to the bottom of what's going on with the Model 3. I'm not sure. Let's find out in a minute. Really windy. Gonna close itself? Go on, you know you want to. Aside from the sunglasses, I also need to pick up a couple of external hard drives because I've run out of storage space now that I'm vlogging again. Right, so Model 3, here's the thing. They've just said like a few weeks ago that they're going to start selling the $35,000, and that comes with a standard battery good for, they say, 220 miles on the EPA range, so I guess it's probably about 200 realistically if you drive like an average normal person. 50 kilowatt hour battery, I believe. It's rear wheel drive. It obviously doesn't come with most of the bells and whistles that you're going to have to pay extra for, but you still wind up with a more or less 200 mile range EV for about, in the UK it'd be about 26,500, 27,000, something like that I think. But here's the thing, you can get other EVs with similar ranges for a similar price. I'm thinking the e-Niro here and the Kona EV as well. I think they're a pretty good cross shop for a Model 3, to be honest. And in fact, in some ways, I think you get more vehicle for your money with the other ones. The thing is though, about the Tesla, it's from Tesla. I can't get away from the idea that Tesla really know what EV drivers need and want, and everyone else is still trying to figure it out. Take charging networks, for example. You've got your Model 3, you can use the superchargers and basically just drive around anywhere you like. You compare that to something from another manufacturer of EVs. They support charging networks. They try to encourage their installation. They lobby governments. They maybe even give free chargers away to a network that's setting up somewhere. But what they don't do is actually take responsibility for making sure that their drivers can charge, which means that if you buy one of those cars, you are an early adopter. You've got to accept that there are certain things which aren't going to be as easy as they could be. My biggest issue with the Model 3 is it's not a hatchback. So for example, a number of people suggested that my mum might be interested in a Model 3 next year, and she would be, except she has a small dog and she wants a hatchback so that the small dog can go in the back. I mean, you know what I would like to see? I would like to see Tesla do other body shapes, like the shooting brake version of the Model S that I think is actually at the Geneva Motor Show at the moment. Definitely a market for that sort of thing. I would have thought that Tesla would be able to do other body shapes if they tried, and I think a hatchback Model 3 would be a great idea. Oh yeah, I think there'd be a lot of people that would sign up for that. That $35,000 price point, I feel that they've kind of got there because they promised they would, rather than they actually really want to, and just sort of fulfilling promises rather than doing what they want. That's not to take away from it though, they did get there. Tesla have also made a bunch of other changes recently, most notably to do with things like autopilot. You know, it's not called enhanced autopilot now, it's just autopilot. And some of the features that were in autopilot or were going to be in the enhanced autopilot have now moved across to the full self-driving category of things. I think there's a few reasons for that. Probably partly it's to do with whether Tesla can actually recognize the revenue from selling full self-driving, which they can't really do if they've not delivered it at all. Would I buy a $35,000 Model S over the alternatives? Yeah, you know what, probably I would, actually, because I have confidence, having driven this car now for, you know, heading in the direction of 5 years, I have confidence that Tesla know what EV drivers need and want, and I really don't have that confidence with other manufacturers. Like, for example, if your car goes in to be worked on, especially if it's going in for a warranty fix or something like that, you do not, as a driver of an EV, want to be given a petrol or diesel courtesy car. You just don't want that. And the flexibility as well, because that's the other thing. Like the Jaguar I-Pace, I think that's a great vehicle. It just won the UK Car of the Year and the European Car of the Year. I think it's on the shortlist for the World Car of the Year. It's obviously very well received, and I love it. I think it looks beautiful. I haven't driven it, but I've been in it when Sophie's driven it, and she seemed to like it very much, and she's relatively demanding as drivers go. The thing that I find difficult with the Jag is I don't feel like the charging setup in that car is designed with EV drivers in mind. So they went with the CCS charger with the I-Pace. Fine. If you're going to go with the CCS, I strongly recommend having a basically, hopefully 22 kilowatt AC quick charger, because it makes up for the lack of CCS plugs that are out there. It gives you that flexibility, and they didn't do that. They went with a slow onboard charger. I tell you something that I do think is probably quite a good competitor to a Model 3 in a lot of ways. The new Renault Zoe that's coming out with 22 kilowatt AC charging and then CCS DC charging, I think that could be a really great car. It's got a great range, bit more than the Model 3, I believe. It is smaller. I assume that means you can probably fit less in the car, although that's not always the case. The i3 looks tiny on the outside, minuscule, not much bigger than a smart car. But when you're inside it, it's twice the size of a smart car. So exterior dimensions do not always translate to interior space in quite the way people might like. Certainly the Model 3 is considerably smaller than a Model S inside. And you don't have the hatchback. I'm going to try and get my sunglasses from Decathlon, which is over that way somewhere. And then there's PC World on the other side, where I'm going to get the external hard drives. And I'm going to do that all right now. I'm so cheap when it comes to sunglasses. Ooh, makes the world look nice and blue. Yeah, I have a bit of a problem with bags, clearly. So that's for this camera. That one there, that's for that Osmo Pocket, because I needed something that I could put it on my belt, which I know it looks shocking and it is a bit uncomfortable, but it also means that I can get it out quickly and easily, which is usually quite important, mainly because I'm willing to put all the time necessary into vlogging, but it's amazing how short the patience of one's wife and son become when every time you try and do anything, you have to faff around getting your camera out of your bag first. Yeah. So anyway, that's cool. I feel like this has been successful. Got my hard drives, got my glasses. They're very comfortable, these glasses. And what else did I get? Oh yes, and I got a little bag which I can put my Mavic in, because my Mavic Air doesn't get enough use. And for some reason, I believe that is because it isn't in a small enough bag. Probably that's not the answer, but anyway. It's no good having cool stuff if you can't take it with you. I think when it comes to picking a car for $35,000, it is a bit of a similar thing. There's no point ordering your fantastic car if it turns out you can't have it for years and years on end. And you might think that the Kona EV or the e-Niro would be a fairer, a surer bet, surer thing to get that sooner rather than later. I don't think they make them in big enough numbers yet, not even nearly. My own sort of around the UK look at e-Niro and Kona EV availability suggests that you would be waiting about 12 months, which isn't probably a million miles away from what you'll be waiting for the Model 3, and the Model 3 is not even released in this country yet. The difference is Tesla manufacture in volume. They don't mess around. They've got to make these cars and sell them, because that's all they do, is make EVs and sell them. They've got nothing else to fall back on. Kia, Hyundai, well, they make other cars. So, you know, if the EVs are bottlenecked and can't come through for a while, buy a diesel instead. I'm really excited. I need to go see a Model 3. Maybe that's what I'll go do. Don't know if I have the time tomorrow. There is a Model 3 in the UK somewhere, I believe. I don't know where. I'm gonna go have some lunch now, I think. Uh-oh. Wasn't planning on having a McDonald's, but it was there. I think that's the point I was trying to make about Model 3 and availability. A lot of the time, how long you're gonna wait can be a significant part of the deciding factor. I've just thought of a similarity between Tesla and my bag shopping. One of the things they've just recently changed is they're going to close almost all the stores, and the remaining ones are going to just become like galleries. And I mean, I can see the logic behind that. It's going to save them loads of money. All the sales will go online for the win. Except, a bit like these bags, I don't tend to buy bags for cameras and stuff online, because if you buy them online, you may well have to return them. You don't know if stuff's going to fit. There's no substitute for actually physically trying to put stuff in. Now, one of these bags that I bought, the one for the Mavic, obviously I didn't have my Mavic Air with me, so I can't test it. I've just had to take a punt. But the bag cost 10 quid, not $35,000. Now, Tesla are trying to mitigate that a bit, I think. That's why they've got this 7-day, 1,000 mile, hand the car back, no questions asked guarantee. I think the vast majority of people are going to want to see it and drive it before they place an order. So I'm not sure how the practical reality of closing all of the Tesla stores is really going to work. No, I want to see the car. I want to know if my stuff will fit. Will my Evolve board fit in the back, for example? That's the kind of thing that is quite important to me. Right, I'm going to stop waffling and go home, because I've still got loads of editing to do. Otherwise, the video that's supposed to be going up today, it's not going to happen. So windy today. Okay, let's see if that Mavic fits. This is the bag that it's currently in. It's a good bag, but it is a little bit larger than I was hoping for. Bulletproof, this is. Case inside case. That's the one I would take if I was going to go on a plane. You see, this is why we need a bag showroom. I'll still find a use for this bag. I mean, actually, I lie, it does fit. One neat drone package. With the successful test of my bag, I feel like now is probably the right time to say goodbye. I hope you've enjoyed today's post. If you have, remember to like it and share it, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you don't already, and I will see you in the next episode of my vlog. Bye. Because, at least in my experience, I never return stuff, ever. I always check I can, because that way when I get home, if Soph's like, no, that's terrible, we're getting a divorce because you've spent all our money, then I can be like, oh well, I'll return it then. But I never do. Luckily she doesn't say that, so